Take a good look at this face. If anybody have seen this guy right here, I do not know his name because it has not been published by the police department of Brooklyn, New York. But if you see this guy anywhere, please call 911, Crime Stoppers, the nearest police. He is allegedly the killer of his 22-year-old girlfriend in Brooklyn, New York. He dismembered her body and put her in 2 suitcases. He is allegedly the killer of Dasia Johnson, and he needs to be found. If you are his family and you're hiding him, shame on you, because his ass needs to be in jail. He is dangerous. Anybody that can cut up a body and put it into 2 suitcases is mentally totally unstable. And y'all need to turn him in. Turn him in now.
Disturbing scene inside an apartment in Cypress Hills. Authorities were conducting a wellness check at the location when they found the victim.
Yeah, so many questions at this hour, including just who the victim is and how this could happen. James Ford is live for us at the scene tonight with more. James.
And that wellness check you talked about up on the 6th floor of this building was the result of 2 things. People not having heard from the victim for a while and neighbors giving complaints about a foul smell. All day long, crime scene investigators and detectives kept coming and going from the building here on Linwood Street and Atlantic Avenue. They removed a lot of evidence related to the gruesome find that had been made here on Wednesday. That's when the building's super, who'd received complaints of a foul odor coming from apartment 6F, let police in to check on a woman in her early 20s. They found parts of her body cut up and left in 2 suitcases, according to police. This man, who did not want to give his name, lives on the same floor a few doors down.
You hear arguing, banging, loud stuff, regular stuff, but you can't, like I said, if you try to interrupt or something like that, you're just putting yourself in a problem you can't solve.
He said that the woman and her boyfriend would regularly fight, and there was often evidence that it got very physical most of the time.
Somebody gets hit very hard in the mouth, right? The blood trail would lead from the door to the elevator. They stood in the elevator, obviously, to the 1st floor, came back out to the front of the building. The blood trail stops there, and you see them both arguing in front of the building.
The boyfriend is being sought in the case, according to neighbors. Some other residents of the building say this is just too close to home.
I want to move. I'm annoyed and I'm shocked.
Some other people from the neighborhood say that while the case is disturbing, they're not surprised.
Now this is the 2nd time in this neighborhood that something like this has happened, and not that they're linked, but I'm just saying that it's unfortunate.
She's talking about the case just 6 months ago, about 15 blocks away, where the torso of a missing woman, Susan Layden, was found in a bag in a shopping cart, and days later, other remains were found. Alleged serial killer Harvey Marceline ended up being charged with the murder based on evidence. And now, in this unrelated case, evidence gathered from Wednesday afternoon, overnight, and into early evening Thursday is being amassed to make a detailed case in this crime. And according to neighbors and police sources, the boyfriend of the victim and possibly an accomplice are being sought in the case. Reporting live from Cypress Hills, Brooklyn, I'm James Ford, Pix 11 News.
Welcome to Straddled Events. On this channel, we bring you the truth. Sometimes the truth is quite ugly, unbearable, and you just don't want to deal with it. But on this channel, you're going to get it anyway. You are straddling between the fence of good versus evil, right versus wrong. And on this channel, we're going to tell you to do better. Let's go. Please subscribe to the channel. It is free. Like or dislike the video. Thanks. The woman they are speaking of is named Dasia Johnson. She's 22 years old and she lived in an apartment building called Housing Plus. She was a victim of domestic violence from this guy back in March. And her family said that, her aunt said her niece wanted to leave the abusive relationship when they had a family dinner on August the 16th, and she wanted to become a teacher. Her boyfriend was arrested in March after he attempted to pick up things but was stopped by the security guard. And Johnson had a restraining order on him, but the witnesses said they could hear the couple arguing in the hallway, and her boyfriend, who's 23 years old, said, "The only way out is when your mother gonna bury you, bitch." When Johnson's aunt asked the security guards to perform a wellness check, they said the boyfriend and another man didn't allow them to go into the apartment. This lady was a very thin lady, and to be dismembered, cut up, put into 2 suitcases, someone has to be extremely sick in the head to do this. And not only sick, but controlling and possessive. This is just the devil. So, if anybody knows where his ass is, you need to turn him in, because he is totally dangerous. To take this little young girl and dismember her body. Please turn him in. Do not hide him. Why do the family and friends hide these type of people? He needs to be in jail. And unfortunately, it's of my opinion that if he did this allegedly, his ass needs to die the same way that she's dead. He shouldn't be walking around living. We shouldn't have to pay for him to be in nobody's jail. We just need to go and just get rid of him now. And this is my opinion about this story. If anybody know the whereabouts of this fool, please turn his ass in to the Brooklyn Police Department or call Crime Stoppers. And the security guards really dropped the ball, because this building is a building that's owned by a private company, C&C Apartment Management, which provides on-site security. Housing Plus provides social services to a third of the building's residents to help them get back on their feet. Housing Plus is a nonprofit group that provides supportive and stable housing to vulnerable women, such as domestic violence victims, or people with criminal histories, and women who suffer from mental health issues. So I'm just confused as to how this guy was able to get in and out of her apartment when she had a restraining order against him. This is so terrible that they allowed him to go in, and then they dropped the ball by walking away. But I really hope that they find him. I'm trying to find the name of this boyfriend's name. They just keep saying boyfriend. He needs to have a name put to his picture. A friend of hers by the name of Stephanie Harris said that he broke her ribs, her legs a couple months ago. She came back, she was on crutches, and he broke her apartment down, broke the TVs in her apartment, and she says, I cried to her, listen, I don't want to see you on the news. He always said, the only way you get out of it is when your mother gonna bury you, bitch. On another occasion, the slender woman, barely 5 feet tall, was publicly beaten in the building hallway. I want to know, where are the men for this young woman? Brothers, uncles, father, grandfather, where are the men? Because it should have been some men to step up to this young man to put his ass in check. And this is the problem with the families nowadays. You know, where are the men stepping up to the plate to get these young men in order? Where are you?
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Cops tonight looking for the boyfriend of the
22-year-old woman whose remains were found late yesterday, stuffed into 2 suitcases in her apartment. Eyewitness News reporter Shantae Lands live at the scene in East New York with our lead story tonight. Shantae.
Bill, friends tell me that 22-year-old woman was sweet and humble. Meanwhile, police entered her home of horror, finding blood in the bathroom, a meat cleaver, and her remains stuffed in 2 suitcases. Evidence bags brought out by detectives in East New York after a tenant's dismembered body was wheeled out of Linwood Park Apartments. Her remains were found stuffed inside 2 suitcases.
Young girl, but not lived.
It's devastating. I think it's just inhumane.
The gruesome discovery happened during a wellness check after complaints of a foul odor.
It's horrific, especially coming across the street from a school. I mean, it's just sad.
The woman, who was just 22, lived on the 6th floor. Neighbors told security they had not seen her in weeks. Police say when the guard went to check, he was blocked by 2 men. One of them was the woman's boyfriend. When the guard went downstairs to call police, they snuck out, detectives believe, with a bag of evidence.
It makes me scared to even be around here. Like, I'm just sick.
Friends say she moved in 2 years ago when the affordable housing building first opened. Neighbors say they heard fighting 2 weeks ago between the couple. Police say she was in a relationship off and on with her 23-year-old boyfriend and that he violated her protection order.
Hope they find him, if that's the case.
And police are still searching for that woman's boyfriend.